street music and meditation.
You tried to convince me you were different. Now it's time to say goodbye.
In the beginning, you said to me that I'm the only one, the woman of your dreams. I fought against it, said that we would never be more than. You stopped me, swore that we would be more than friends. You kept persistent, caught my interest, and I couldn't ignore how every day I kept waiting for your call, falling for you more and more. Now this time, should I stay, should I go? There's some things I don't know, I just not this time. That pain I felt before, I can't take it no more. Not this time, should I stay, should I go? There's some things I don't know. Not this time, that pain I felt before, I can't take it, no. A little later we would sit and talk about things, having a little one, even a diamond ring. But still I felt that something wasn't right. You switched it up on me and everything became a fight. Tell me what I said, tell me what I did to make you go against everything you promised.
Thank you so much to
Now
Clay
I'm sitting
Wilson.
here
Clay
looking
Wilson
like a
is
fool
indeed our
for
producer,
believing all the
announcer,
things you
co-host,
said. You
and
never put me
engineer,
this
operating
time.
all at the same
Should I
time
stay,
and
should I
even
go? There's some
simultaneously.
things I don't know, I
So
just
we
not
thank you to Clay
this
Wilson,
time.
and it is
That
not
pain
an
I felt before,
understatement
I can't take
when
it no
you say
more.
very special guest this
This
morning,
time,
because this is
should I
the
stay,
first
should I
Saturday
go? There's some things I
on
don't
Wave
know.
Your Grade. Every first
This
Saturday,
time,
we
that pain I
feature
felt before,
the
I
Smart
can't
Club.
take it.
And the Smart
No,
Club
funny
could not
thing
be smart
is, I
were it
ain't
not
even mad
for
at you. I'm
Attorney
mad at
Valencia
me
Brothers.
for loving
So
you, for
we do
really
have
thinking
the
that you could
distinct
be
pleasure
mine, for
of
believing
bringing
every single
on the
lie.
microphone before we
But
have
I
a more
won't
formal
dwell
opening. I just
on
want
the
to say to
past.
Valencia
It's time
Brothers,
to go.
thank you for
Let
being
me
here
pack
and
my
welcome to
bag.
Wave
I
Your
wish
Grade.
you all the best. Time to get some rest. Never again will I deal
Thank
with
you,
broken
thank you,
promises.
thank you.
Not this time. Should I stay?
You
Should
know
I
what?
go? There's some things I
I'm
don't
glad that
know.
you
I
mentioned
just not
sunshine, and let me tell you why. And it is very
that pain
interesting
I felt
because
before, I can't take it
I
no
guess
more.
since March,
This
more
time,
the Quay than any
should I
other
stay?
time, we
Should I
talked
go?
about the
There's some
elephant in the
things
room
I
more
don't
than
know.
any other time because of the pandemic
That pain I
times
felt
that we
before,
are
I
experiencing.
can't take it.
At the same
No.
time, the division in the United States of America and across the world, but the world pays more attention to what's going on in America, and you cannot avoid looking at it. Additionally, for instance, we had a prayer on the steps of Jameson Memorial Temple at Linwood and Benton to pray for the reduction, prayerfully, the elimination of violence in our smaller community. Now, when Valencia Brothers says there's sunshine, I mean, we're looking for that ray of sunshine somewhere. Certainly, the Smart Club represents that. And at the same time, it is impossible to avoid all of the stuff that's going on around us. If I were to say elephant in the room, for many, many people this day, that would mean the contraction of the coronavirus by the President of the United States. And my wife has a saying that I have adopted, and so have some other people, but as a Christian. And I think of that as I say that I have thought for a long time it was unfortunate that our leadership in this United States of America would not take seriously what's going on. But as Wanda would say, but as a Christian, I certainly pray for him. I certainly pray for his family. those in close proximity who are now testing positive. And while sincerely we pray for leadership and just for other human beings, this stuff is real, y'all. Understand what is happening around us. And if that's not enough, um, uh, Valencia brought us, our very special guest, has gone through some personal trials, and we certainly continue to offer our prayers and condolences for you and your family. I just applaud your courage and keeping on and granting us the opportunity to have you on the show today. Our announcer, DeQuay Wilson, has those continuous challenges, and that's where we are now. So if there's nothing else that we need to learn and pass on, it is how we support one another in whatever the appropriate way might be, and help our children see us supporting one another and trying to educate even the President of the United States that life is serious. It's not about politics unless you make it that way, and unfortunately, too many have. So, DeQuay, you are right. It is a pleasure to have to have Valencia with us this morning to talk about some things that are no doubt quite positive, and especially because it deals with our young people. So, forgive the lengthy introduction, but Valencia, we're going to let you get us started, and if we have to call anybody or whatever it is that we have to do, please go right ahead. Your show.
They're texting me saying hello and all that, but I haven't. So no one has said call me yet.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no.
And the way you're hearing us all right with our masks on, and
Yes.
okay.
I know. Sorry about that. Okay.
No,
And so
I got the thicker mask. Mask. I'm sorry about that.
no, but this is what we're supposed to be doing, and
Okay.
this is the whole point. When we don't take these things seriously about protecting ourselves and others. Like they said, when the plane's falling, what do? You put your mask on first
Thank
before trying
you.
to save others, and that's what leadership
Yeah.
is supposed to do. And when leadership doesn't do that,
Yeah.
then they can unfortunately be I don't mean the word casualty, but they definitely can be harmed as
Yes.
the plane's falling, and
That's right.
not able to help people. I think that's where our president is right now,
Yeah.
and his family, his wife, unfortunately, and maybe even his son. I mean, you think about this is really sad
Yes.
because it really
Yes.
different. So taking all this stuff serious, and the more that we do it, our kids will see us do it, and they're
There you
modeling
go.
our behaviors, and that's why it's important. So I'm gonna jump right into kind of what our career club. Every time, every semester, they do projects where we try to focus on how do we strengthen the kind of the skill sets of our young people, and then being able just to do life.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing life, but how do we teach them to to do life and make things okay? And in the midst of course, in Kansas City, with violence being
Ooh.
so up high, and
Yeah.
of course, with my grandson being a
Sorry.
innocent
Sorry.
victim, of violence, it's like, so what are we gonna do about this?
Yes.
And I've been there because we always do stuff. You get them in school, get them here, get them there, and that's good stuff. But sometimes they don't make it to the other places because we're not, I think, doing the super way above and beyond about
Okay.
helping everybody
Yes.
to do life, not just the kids we're working with, but other young people who may not be getting this everyday smart stuff or
Right.
whatever. But I
Right.
was telling my daughter regarding my grandson that the thing that happens is we can do all we can to raise great young people and all of that. But depending on how other people maybe raising or not raising,
Thank
or the
you.
environment takes them and does things the other, then they're going to intersect. And so, because our kids, just like us, we're going to cross paths with people that
Mm.
are going to have differences, regarding values, with all that type of stuff. And so, sometimes there really is nothing you can do
Mm-hmm.
when the intersection happens except hope,
Praise God.
that they make it through. And so it got me to just thinking more and more about, so then how are we going to make sure that we're reining down some of this other, energy of how to first just have good, better self-esteem, how to do conflict resolution,
Mm-hmm.
how to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that, whether it's education or different things for a lot more young people, whether they're in the club or not. Because if we don't start spreading that more through
Yes.
osmosis on as many as we can, then the casualties are going to get higher. It's not going to go backwards. So, of course, we do financial literacy. We do all that type of stuff to
Yes.
when if kids they have jobs, making money, their families and all, and that's good. What we're working on now, though, we all know that violence is a public health crisis. All over. I mean, it's that by definition now, and so we're doing our third through BEU. We're doing our third health equity research initiative. We did one on financial literacy, then one on small businesses. This one we're doing on how we really can help our city and other places to reduce violence through some serious conflict resolution activities that are just ongoing. And I know that they do a lot of it through youth courts and stuff in schools, helping the young people to um, um, monitor or guide discipline with kids when they maybe act up in school. But even from a different standpoint, how do we start? Like, remember, we used to have spelling bees. We have basketball. We have all these different things that are just ongoing
Right.
that teach kids skills. So we're working with the National Association of Parliamentarians. I am the state chair of that organization over youth for Missouri, and we're working with us, how we have to conduct our meetings, and we have to do a lot of things where there are rules. I was telling some adults this the other day, and they didn't believe me, but you guys, you'll when I say it, I said, do you know that a lot of young people don't understand that there really are rules they must follow in life and that there's a reason? And, this one person said, well, of course the kids know. I mean, they know the rules. I mean, everyone has rules. I said, but really, a lot of kids, they don't understand
That's right.
that there really are rules and there's
That's
a
right.
reason. And so, what we do, of course, as a parliamentarian, when we're the parliamentarian, we conduct the rules, make sure people are following the rules, but in a very collegial way. And the more kids can participate on not just on boards and stuff, but then in activities that are always emphasizing rules, rewards, and consequences, and you make it fun, again, just like financial literacy or spelling bees or anything else, the more we can make that a part of just a curriculum, and not just for career club kids, but for anybody, and getting churches involved in neighborhoods where there are rules anyway. But the more that we can help people really understand about rules, and
Yes.
so that's kind of our project this year. But we're gonna be doing a study around it, and so our career clubbers, they'll be helping like they did with our financial literacy, and then also with our small business, because there's a lot of things that can be done. We can throw money at stuff, but until we really impact the deeper internal understanding of these young people and their behaviors, if you know that there's some rules of engagement, and
Yes.
normally they talk about in the military, but it really works everywhere. We
Absolutely.
know when we come in, there are some rules that when I sit down, when I do this, when I do that, but you got to practice it. We have to know it. You send us a
Mm-hmm.
document, and then when we come and we know we have a good show because we followed the rules. And
Yes.
so, please,
I was
because I,
just
I can just talk though.
no. I want you to. I just wanted to offer an opportunity in case someone is listening and needs the number to call in. 816-599-6893. If you're listening and would like to call in, 816 599 6893. And what you made me mindful of, and please, DeQuay Wilson, jump in, was the fact that so often there are things we take for granted. And sometimes my generation is guilty of stating what we take for granted as fact. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about, and people being surprised that there are young people who have not been taught the rules. You will hear people from my generation on an ongoing basis make statements like, those young people are getting away with this. If that had happened when we were growing up, this is what, and then you hear the repetition of, go get the switch, and you better not make it a small switch, and how many times you're going to get whipped in school, on the way home from school, all of those kinds of things. And we act as if following the rules was just SOP. This was standard operating procedure when we were growing up. And we really need to be more honest about it. There were people of our generation, there were people in the generation next to us who did not give their children loving directions, who did not just automatically not only say, here's how you do it, but demonstrate, here's how you do it. So we caused a lot of young people who were innocent to be guilty, not because of their inherent personality, but because they were not taught the rules.
Yes.
They were not embraced in terms of the advantage of following the rules.
That's right.
So what you're doing when you say, not just the members of the SMART Club, we should not take for granted that people just know stuff, but you're right. Let it be expansive. Let the example be set so our children can follow the example.
Yes.
So that's what you made me mindful of.
Amen. And we have to help them to have ways to participate in it. You know, you ever see kids when we're out eating? We're out eating with kids, or we're out eating and we see people with their kids.
Yes.
Kids clowning. And be like, why don't you get them kids, spank them kids? I mean, whatever we say, you know.
Yep.
And I tell people, maybe they're practicing. I mean, because if they just started bringing the kids out, I mean, honestly,
Yeah, that's
they
interesting.
they
That's a
can't
good.
learn
I like that.
unless you gotta bring them out. Sometimes we're afraid. I ain't gonna take you nowhere with me. Gonna embarrass me. I take the kids everywhere, only because then we can have learning moments. But sometimes, you know, you were mentioning, sometimes we forget. We the older people, we forget sometimes that sometimes they haven't had the training. So
Thank
that when we
you.
bring them out,
Thank you.
when they sag it or whatever's going on, whatever's going
Absolutely.
on, we're so down on them,
Hmm.
then they won't come with us again. You know, and so if we make it so that following the rules and using, you know, our outdoor etiquette and all that type of stuff, you know, we have to incentivize it. I know people don't like that a lot, but you know, it's when our young people are doing some of these projects, if you say, well, okay, well, you know, the scorecard says if you got through this week and you weren't sagging more than once, because you can't say don't sag. I mean, because that's what they do. We do have to kind of gradually get there with them, and
there you go.
and then make it so that, okay, great, you know, and then you cheer about it. And people, they get mad when we cheer about now, you know, graduating from kindergarten, 5th grade, high school. Unfortunately, it's such a big deal now because the kids aren't making it to some of that. It's a big deal, you know.
Clearly, and you know how we always say children learn more by example than they do by instruction. But the challenge now that I'd like for you to help us with is now we're in a very peculiar situation. So, how do you do it electronically? How do you do it virtually? How do you get to the point where a maximum number can share in what you do?
You all remember Hollywood Squares?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
And
I don't
so,
know.
you
Do
remember
you really?
Hollywood Squares? I would tell somebody, Mr. Ross, we were talking about that yesterday with
Yeah.
the financial literacy stuff. And we were talking about that it's so easy now to do a Zoom meeting. You can do a Zoom meeting every hour,
Yes.
and just like the students have classes, what we're finding is that if you say to students or whatever it is, okay, hey, so if you guys plug in, just do this 1 hour meeting with me and we'll give you a $20 gift card or you'll get
Wow.
points or whatever, they don't mind tuning in.
Thank you.
Sometimes they don't want to come out
Yeah.
because they may not have a car, they may not feel like they're dressed right, they may not do whatever. It's interesting because for a while the kids were having problems with the Zoom with school. Some still are, but they're getting used to it. And so now the Zoom and the school
Yes.
from home, they're kind of like it because they can kind of tune you in, tune
Yeah.
you out. Oh, it's so interesting.
That's it.
But so with that, it's easy the way that NAP does, National Parliamentarians. They can just sign on as a member, no big deal. But then we have different little contests and we have things and competitions that they can do, like in Hollywood Square. So that's why I use that
Exactly.
as the model,
Exactly.
and they can sign up and do this stuff where we're teaching things, and then our advisory board they'll have mock meetings, eventually after they practice to see if they can follow the rules. But all of it is incentivized because if we don't first get them to practice, play with us, fun
Yes.
academics, and play with us in the first place, we then can't get it inside of them so that then they use it later when we then purposefully help every young person to do volunteerism and to be on youth boards, because that's a big piece.
Yes.
If they're not doing chores, a lot of kids don't do chores. I'm just amazed. But anyway, a lot of kids don't do chores. They don't do some things. So if we're not teaching them those pieces of that deep work ethic, then they normally aren't going to go volunteer for free. Because it's kind of like if we haven't brought them up volunteering, they're not.
Yes.
So we have to make it habitual, like a lot of schools do to graduate. You must get so many volunteer hours. They're doing that on purpose because the young people, sometimes they just don't go do it. If you don't have to graduate and it's documented and you do it well, they're finding ways, a lot of the schools are, to get the kids into going and, being appropriate or, yes, please. No, go ahead. Yes, yes. And teaching them with that though to engage with whether it's me or elderly or people that may have certain sicknesses, or we're teaching them about the societal ills, whether it's poverty or homelessness. But go volunteer just so they can see what's going on in the world, and where they do that, they hopefully will start appreciating, like, dang, I got it kind of good. You just never know.
Wow, that's
So
a good point. That's a good
we do
point.
that with our career clubbers a lot. So that's when I'm thinking, well, how do we though help schools and other places to do it too? So we don't have to just do it. So we'll be working. Well, and I brought the paper because, as we know, our mayor in Kansas City, other places too, I'm sure, they have kind of put out the new plan or approach to really focusing on violence prevention. And there was a plan that was done a couple of years ago. It's a really good, extensive plan, but we're trying to see now, since the numbers though have not really gone down, they've gone up.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
something's wrong. And as the mayor said in this week's call, it's like, but we need more partners to do some stuff.
Yeah, and I definitely want Attorney Valencia Broaddus, our very special guest today, to talk about ways to reach out, to link arms, to get together on that. And when you talk about an anti-violence movement, as a matter of fact, we're going to go to our first break, and one of the announcements that DeQuay Wilson has deals with a prayer vigil, as it were, however, not continuous, but twice a day for 49 days, and that's what they were doing on the steps of Jameson Temple this afternoon. And when we return, I am very, very interested in how other entities are cooperating in a fashion that helps you do what you do. But more important than that is how to reach out to others and get them involved in what it is that you're doing in a helpful way. But before that, let me ask DeQuay Wilson to take our first break, and we will come back with Attorney Valencia Broader, Smart Club. Here is DeQuay Wilson. Neither Valencia brought us nor I heard in our earphones what you just said. So I don't know whether it's you or us, but I didn't get it in my earpiece. I can hear you, but not through the microphone. Uh oh.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Perfect. There you go. Absolutely. Perfect.
Uh, Wave Your Grades is brought to you by the Norman Group. For more information on becoming a partner or learning to bridge the 5 wealth gaps, please contact Willie Norman at 816-525-8708, or you may reach him by email at wnorman2@att.net. Again, the phone number is 816-525-8708. Email is wnorman2@att.net. He would love to hear from you and help you out. Now, on to our announcements, as Carl stated. Very first announcement, Kansas City Stand for Life. We'll be praying every day starting today, October 3rd. The chain prayer will continue to go on every day until November 21st. Participants will be asked to pray at 7 a.m. and or 7 p.m. along with prayer leaders who will be featured on the KC Stand for Life Facebook page. To get more information on how you can participate, please send your email inquiry to KC Stand for Life. 4 is spelled out. That is KCSTANDFORLIFE @yahoo.com. And then also, Grandview Police are sponsoring Slurpee with a Cop this coming Tuesday, October 6th, from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Grandview 7-Eleven on Main. For more information on this event, please contact Master Sergeant Greg Smith of the Grandview Police Department. His phone number is 816-316-4906. And now we are back with Wave Your Grades. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. And here again, our host with our guest, Carl Boyd.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, well, let's see. If you do the same thing for my microphone that you did for yours and for Valencia's as you did, maybe. Oh, I think I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, we're good. I am so glad that you said Stand for Life, spell out FOR, because that was what I gave you mistakenly. Now that was my mistake because I typed that up. It is KC Stand the number 4
Okay.
for life. So that was my mistake. And that would make that email address what again? KC Stand for Life.
KC, that's KCSTAND, the number 4, LIFE @yahoo.com.
There you go, at yahoo.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. And we are pleased to come back to our attorney, Valencia Broadus, who mentioned the newspaper article and very much the focus that is put on ending violence in our community. And was there something specific that you wanted to mention about that? And thank you again, Attorney Valencia Broadus, for being with us.
Okay, so not anything in depth about the plan or anything, but in the call paper, on page 4, I'm doing that on purpose because if you get it, then they're doing some upcoming meetings about the plan.
Mm.
And the reason that's important is because the plan has been there a couple of years, and then there was a plan before that, and a plan before that. And one of the things that we think about is we have all these plans to do things, and the mayor and the police chief, others are just saying, okay, plan's good, but we really need this engagement. We really need a little bit more of the community really doing some things. And I'm not really sure what that means. I know the community is doing some things.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
what other things do we need? And I guess some of these will come hopefully from these meetings. And so, with the four pillars being prevention, intervention, law enforcement in the community, and then reform, those are the pillars of, I guess, the new plan or approach. So there's a couple of meetings. I think they just had one for the walking tour that they had in the Lincoln neighborhood was this Thursday, October 1st. There's a town hall on prevention Wednesday, October 7th. Town hall on intervention Monday, October 12th. And then a town hall on enforcement in the community October 17th. Town hall on reform October 20th. And I'm saying that because there's like these, looks like 5 weeks in a row of some intense talking to people. It's open to anyone can come, and the mayor says they want to work with everybody, to do some things. And I would suggest that as we come to these meetings, if we're going to come, we have to already come with our own thought and a plan. So we need to
Yes.
read that 30-page plan. I mean, it's a pretty thick plan. It's on the website, but on the Kansas City Health Department's website, we need to read that plan, figure out where we fit in these pillars. Then we need to come with our own mini sub plan written
Sure.
out and
Okay.
a budget for it, so we can
Okay.
give it to people. Because sometimes I think what happens is we talk about what people should do, whatever it is, and we say, yay, go. But then because we often can't get funded, sometimes because we haven't put enough in place so that we can either get funded to do it when we want to, or because we didn't submit something in writing, we don't get a response back. And so all these things happen. So I think, how do we coordinate this a little better as we join to help the mayor and the police chief and all these people with that plan? So I'm not saying that's going to be do it, but it's something that's happening, and I hope we all can support it, because I think everybody cares. It's what are we going to do? So
The voice that you are hearing is that of Attorney Valencia Broaddus. She comes to us every first Saturday on Waybeer Grades. This is KUAW, and in most cases on those Saturdays, Attorney Valencia Broaddus is accompanied by students of the Smart Club. Obviously, during this pandemic season, guests in studio is a challenge. So we are pleased that we do have Attorney Valencia Broaddus with us, but talking about conflict resolution, talking about an anti-violence movement, talking about some of what is being done even from City Hall. First, I would really appreciate your giving listeners contact information, either directly to you or whatever contact information is appropriate.
um, my my number is in the Valencia Broader Smart Career Club, 816-612-1083. 816-612-1083. And you should definitely text me and say, hello, I am whoever you are, and I or my virtual assistant, Miss Stephanie, we'll give you a call back. I rarely ever just accept phone numbers, phone calls, people I don't know. Just put that out there. 'Cause
Absolutely,
I won't
absolutely.
answer.
I-
But if you text, that'll be great. Because what we're trying to do is not just for the Smart Career Club, but for anyone. If people are interested in helping with these and other issues related to young people, and you aren't already connected to something, then we want to assist in connecting you to whatever organization, but the issue that you have in your heart. Let's connect you to something, because the more that we're involved in helping with our expertise and just our love and our caring and our time, talent, and treasure, then we can make this a better deal. Mentoring is really that's really the biggest deal to all of this.
So I am hearing from you that there are at least two constituent groups who might call 816-612-1083. There might be two constituent groups. One, the Smart Club is comprised of students. You might be student age. Mentors are adults who don't necessarily have to be educators and counselors, but conscientious adults who would like to be a part of what you're doing. So 816-612-1083. Attorney Valencia Broaddus. I have just turned into the show. I hear you talking about getting involved. So let's go back to the beginning. This is the effort. This is what we're doing. This is how you can participate. Now, so
Say
please.
all that. Okay. With the Smart Career Club, we our initiatives right now. We have two main things. We're doing our financial literacy competition again, and so if people want to just kind of be a financial literacy coach, and again, you don't have to know everything. It's more of just kind of helping people to study for competitions
There
and
you
stuff
go.
like that. And it's really
Yeah.
kind of fun. We do a Jeopardy, and then the kids win scholarships and stuff. But it's really about just being there to egg them on and get them to study, and just being a supporter, an adult in their support circle. The other bigger piece, well, not bigger, the other new initiative, and we think really urgent in helping to prevent violence right now,
Yes.
is
Yes.
we're really teaching young people again about parliamentary procedure, about conflict resolution, about how to have conversations around difficult issues, and um, how do we do that in a way where we help them to learn the rules of engagement. And so whether it's financial literacy or our National Association of Parliamentarian, there are books and models on how to do these things. So we have the literature, and I write the curriculum to support it. We're pretty serious about making sure that anyone who wants to volunteer and to help, that you will be guided on just being kind of a cheerleader supporter,
Mm-hmm.
and really helping to make sure that you're a young person in the competition. So you're kind of like a competition coach, I guess, would be a study coach, competition coach, helping them to be engaged, but also to really just learn information and understand that we're here, that we really are here to help them to get information to help them be able to do life a little better, meaning life out here.
Yes.
To do life.
And now, and when you spoke about the newspaper article, that is this weekend's call paper.
Yes.
All right.
Dated week of October 2nd through October 8th, and on the front page is where they kind of just talk about that the mayor gave out his plan. They call it a plan. City leaders, Mayor Lucas, city leaders announced comprehensive crime prevention framework, and then town hall meetings. And it just talks about, what they're doing with the leaders on the front page. And are you on there, Mr. Boyd, somewhere, maybe?
No.
Are you sure? I don't know. I looked.
I'm positive that I am not there.
I looked.
But it brings to mind a question, because Wanda and I are residents of Greater Kansas City, but not Kansas City, Missouri. So when you talked about Mayor Quentin Lucas and the involvement of the community, is residence a requirement?
No, it isn't, because again, remember that intersection that we talked about a little earlier. It's wherever our young people are. They
Okay.
cross into Blue Springs, Grandview, Kansas City, Parkville, Park Hill. The kids are everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're everywhere too.
Yes.
If you think. And so what's happening is that our young people, wherever we are, every city needs our help. It's just so on this paper, Mayor Lucas has his plan. I think every city probably has a plan. Often your urban core, cities, not just here, but other, Atlanta or whatever, they often have a little more just because things are happening a little more. So, no, you can help from anywhere. We have kids in the career club and their friends that they live all over, live in Raytown, live everywhere. but we're taking that framework that is already out there, and we're using it for the kids to discuss in general through these leadership type of modules where we're
Mm-hmm.
using, having how to, vote on stuff and rules and why rules are important. We're using that framework to really discuss with them why are we doing this stuff, and it gives them something to talk about. And so that's our leading document. And then we use a parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules of Order, as kind of their guide on how to
Yes.
conduct the discussions.
Yes.
And so they're some of our young people, they're doing papers on them, and because we're
Oh,
doing
this is really
research,
good. This is
and
really
they're
good.
really saying, why will this help? So the young people are studying it, and they get
Good.
stipends for studying it. Again, you
Good.
must incentivize. Because you want me to go do some research, you want me to write some essays. Yes, we do. And the more they do it, even for the school stuff, they're getting used to it, and they're getting used to talking, and it's really exciting. It's really exciting. And VEU is our big partner, the Black Economic Union, and they have our interim board president, our interim president and board chair has authorized us to do this third health equity study under BEU, the Black Economic Union of Greater Kansas City, and we're really, really, really excited about it. So,
And now, as it relates to some of what you do, I'm just curious if you do any teacher training. And I'll tell you why what you said made me mindful of that. And we have said before we like to quote the Reverend Millis Doc Bass.
amen, Reverend Doc.
And one of the things that we continue to quote from him is the relevance of intelligence.
Yes.
And when I think about Doc saying that, I think about those young people with whom you're working. And they're saying, why do we need to do this? You are saying to them, this is where it fits. For instance, as a matter of fact, I don't think it's a reach when I say this. There are some folks who are suggesting that they have no reason to vote. Now, here are some young people who are learning about Robert's Rules of Order. Now, it actually is relevant as it relates to if you want to get something done, there are rules to get it done. And if you don't vote, you cannot hold to the fire those whom you did not vote for to represent you to follow the rules. Well, young person, how do you know? Because I've studied Robert's Rules of Order, and I expect the city council to conduct themselves in this way. I expect Congress, I expect the Senate. So that's in this election year, that's good for
It is
them.
so good. It's funny that you mentioned that because this past over the summer, before the summer with the pandemic, but then the impeachment, there's all this stuff
Oh,
that
yeah.
I and others and our young people, we study that stuff a lot when it's happening on purpose.
Yes.
We have to read the Constitution and try to find it in there,
Mhm.
all this type of stuff.
Mhm.
And it's so exciting because when I was in school, even in law school, I mean, you study it to learn and pass the class and everything. This is real life stuff
Yes,
that we're
ma'am.
going through.
Yes,
And so
ma'am.
we get to take it now and really say, that's what that was about. I didn't know
Yes.
they could do that. So we've
Yeah.
really been it's been an eye opener, even through when President Obama, was our president, learning a lot of how the Senate did things. We got to really study it. Like, what can they really
Ooh.
do that? And they could. But
Well,
even now, this president doing some things like, can he really do that? We need to look it up.
as a matter of
It's
fact,
something else.
as hypocritical as it is, when you had a president nominate a Supreme Court candidate 9 months ahead of the election, and they're having the audacity to say, we can't do that. The American people need to have their say. We need to wait until an election. And then it comes back to them, and they're doing it within 42 days of an election. There are some young people who know Attorney Valencia Broadus who can say, oh, no, no, no. You might be able to do it, but it's
Yes,
hypocritical because
it
we
is.
have the history
Yes.
of
And
these kinds
it's really
of
not
things.
ethical during this situation
Thank you.
because they had the senators that vowed they would never do it again. So it's a little
They really
it's a
did.
little different even of about they said it like no, even if it's us Republic. I mean, and so they keep playing that over and over and
Yeah,
over. And
and
I'm
I
so
don't blame
glad.
them. I
I'm like,
don't blame them.
it's terrible.
Absolutely.
The lady wasn't even buried yet. It's
Come on, and that
horrible.
was that hurt. That
That was
she was not. She was still
horrible.
warm, and they're talking politics.
When she was alive, they were talking.
Yes, ma'am.
That was horrible.
So that the more the young people know about those kinds of things, the more Miller Stock Bass intelligence is indeed
Irrelevant.
relevant.
Yes.
So one of the adults whom we know you know is Brother Ross.
Yes.
So here you have financial literacy. Now here are some adults waiting in the wings. And one has an expertise in politics, and another one in economics, and another one in education, and another one in religion, and another one in the social field. So that they say 816-612-1083. Let me text and say I can do this. Then what am I waiting for?
So then what happens is when you say, I want to do this, and then
Mhm.
of course I call you back,
Mhm.
and then we will be able to help you to share your gift with the young people. One of the
Okay.
things that we um, way when we had the Northeast Institute of Achievers, that's really what we did. We had through Mr. Nunley and some other Jim Nunley, my first big school program was at Northeast Middle School, and basically we worked with the kids all year round in the school. But every adult who wanted to come and do things with us, we had Dave Whalen. He taught banking, and then we had a gentleman that came and taught golf. Some taught
Yeah.
tennis. It's
There you
whatever
go.
they wanted
Ooh,
to
this
do.
is so
It
good.
was exciting, and it
Okay.
was really a successful drug prevention, violence prevention program. Then this was almost 20 years ago when we did that.
Wow.
And so we're trying now
This
to
is
get back to
good.
something similar with this one, but as we put the topics in, if you have a building like this, it's easier to do. Because you think about all the different people
Good
that
point.
really,
Good point.
do their math tutors, but they're all different professions.
Yes.
So every young person that comes in touch with Mickey Dean or different people, they're learning the law. I'm gonna be tutoring you in math, but I'm learning about the law, architecture, anything. Because the more that I teach you, if I'm kind and I'm being a good model,
this is
I'm gonna ask you, what do you do again? I'm gonna ask you that.
yes.
Like people,
Yes.
they know we're Christians, not because, maybe because I wear my necklace, but often because of the way we talk.
Thank
People
you.
say, they don't say, are you a Christian? They say, what church you go to?
Exactly.
Same thing. The more the
Exactly.
kids hang around us, just hanging out, doing fun stuff.
Ooh, that's
mentoring.
so
Project-based mentoring.
important.
That's all it is, but we got to spend the time with them. Got to spend time with these kids.
Now, one of the things that is a blessing is apparently 99.999628 4 point of the adults with whom you have worked are honest. Is there any necessity for a vetting process? I'll tell you what I mean. I call your number, I give you my name, and I say I'm a brain surgeon. How can I help? Well, if you check my background, I didn't quite make it to brain surgery, uh, but I did think about something one day. I mean, how do you?
Yes. There is an application
Okay.
that they will do with me. There's an application. We do some background screening. Every volunteer program, you have to do some background screening. We
Okay.
don't try to keep people out, if
Exactly.
they have felonies and stuff like that. Because what we're learning, and people who have blemished backgrounds, like I did and others,
Mhm.
we're often the best ones to help our young
Without a
people
doubt.
to make it through.
Uh,
And so
yeah.
again, we find ways that sometimes as people are coming, they have blemishes, and we do have to be careful of where we place them and what we let. But everybody can participate. That's how the community is.
Well, as
The
a matter
community is blemished,
as a matter of fact, and every once in a while somebody might have just tuned in. So please, please, please know that I was joking about being a brain surgeon. So not even not even close. But as you suggest, there are people with blemished backgrounds. I would say different backgrounds.
Yes, yes, yes.
There are some who will accuse you of being blemished, but the blemish I'm going to call is the one that's not mine.
Mm,
But if you check me out and my blemishes, I will say, well, you call it a blemish. I just call it different.
gotcha.
But,
I like then. I don't have blemishes. I have differences.
but
yeah, but it's important.
yeah, it turns out,
It's important.
it
That's
turns
good.
out to be true. I have been blessed to meet some folks right here in the Kansas City
Yes.
community who have had challenges that they have overcome.
Yes.
And as you say, two reasons I think that they are extremely important to young people. One is that background with which they are intimately familiar because that was them. But the second thing that I find, and I could be wrong about this assessment, is in most cases, they're very honest about it.
That's right.
Because when you can come to grips with something you've gone through and be honest with a young person about it, there is a relief within you, and those young people know that they can trust you because you haven't held back from them what you've had to overcome.
Yes, because here's the other, I was gonna say exciting thing we need to know, and that most times people will share with us is whatever my difference or blemish is that
Mhm.
I have right now. You also are probably 10 minutes away from having the same one.
Thank you very much.
And that's why we need people to be around us and with us to help us sometimes to not step in those same little potholes.
Thank you.
And only people who stepped there can then say, you probably don't want to do that.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing that I learned is we really, all of us, or it could be a traffic ticket. You think about people that are going to jail, being killed, being snatched, all sorts of stuff because they're at the wrong place.
Without a
Not because they
doubt.
weren't or people lie, people, you could accidentally eat a grape in a store and get beat up and go to prison for 10 years.
Can you imagine?
I'm just saying, not
Oh.
accidentally the grape, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh,
Innocent.
very seriously.
And so
Yes.
it's all sorts of stuff, defending yourself, but they turned it on you. Just everything. It's pretty deep. And everybody has a story that they can share some really good stuff with our young people because our kids, they don't know how to do life.
This is
It's really they don't know how to navigate challenging waters.
This is so very important, and as you pointed out, the statistics bear it out. We're going in the wrong direction as it relates to something as important as homicide in our community. And I don't know if it points it out in the newspaper article or in the plan, but when you look at the median age of those most impacted by violent crime, you discover why this need is so acute. This is real. But
they're in that age of that 16 to 24, 25.
Yes, ma'am.
Meaning the offender and the victims.
And you mentioned being a Christian. You mentioned your faith orientation. And one of the things I think about now as it relates to how God operates, as dire as everything seems to be on our horizon, it gives God an opportunity to say, you can overcome this too.
Yeah.
There's a DeQuay Wilson in your life. There's a Valencia Broadus in your life who did not even know that you would have to deal with someone who would be dependent upon you. And you say, not me, God. But isn't that important for young people to see and be a part of. We're coming to the end of the program, so please, whatever your closing remarks are.
This is, you mentioned about the prayer, 7 to 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., two
Yes.
different times for the 50 days. And um, I do hope that there is a way where it won't be just adults praying. We got to get the
Absolutely.
young people
Thank you.
we got to invite them to pray too. I mean, at
Yes.
least to tell them about it and the importance, because this is the perfect time to witness. People understand why, because they don't know, have nothing to hold on to. They don't know how to do life. We praying, that's cool, but if they ain't praying, going about their business, and they don't even know why or what, they're laughing at us sometimes.
Exactly.
Vigils and prayers, and so
That's true.
we got to be careful.
Thank you.
They have to be included. Of just talking to them,
Yes.
you know, they got to be included.
Well, Pat Riley, who is with the Miami Heat now, but for a long time he was with the Los Angeles Lakers, wrote a book. And he explained in the book that he and his wife were with two other couples. There were 6 people in a whitewater raft. The water got real rough to the point where the raft turned over.
Mm.
And these 6 adults, 3 males, 3 females, were holding on. And he said that he discovered a truth, and fortunately, all of them survived. But during that encounter, he discovered this truth. He had to be a participant in his own salvation.
Yes.
You gotta, he had to deal with that on the spot,
I like. Yeah.
unexpectedly. Attorney Valencia brought us. You got to come back with us, and thank you so much for the Smart Club and all that you do.
Thank you all. Very,
You
very
are,
much for
you
your
are.
prayers, for everything.
Yes, thank you. And here is your announcer, DeQuay Wilson.
Really quick, just a quick reminder, as Valencia just stated, Kansas City Stand for Life will be praying every day starting today, October 3rd. Will continue until November 21st, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. It's going to be featuring KC leaders. For more information, please go to KC Stand, the number 4, life at yahoo.com. Also, Grandview Police are sponsoring Slurpee with a Cop this coming Tuesday, October 6th at 7-Eleven on Main Street in Grandview. For more information on that, please contact Master Sergeant Greg Smith at the Grandview Police Department, 816-316-4906. Now, to close today's Wave Your Grades program, our host will recite one of his daily year-round morning motivational messages for students in honor of our troops. I am DeQuay Wilson. Here is Carl Boyd.
To students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day, October 3rd. They put their lives on the line so you can develop your mind. October 3rd, they put their lives on the line so you can develop your mind. Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.
Hey everybody, this is Scatter. You might remember me from way back in the Zodiac days. Be sure and check us out. We're going to be here every day from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock as Old School with Scatter.